In Venezuela, the Bolivarian National Armed Forces and the citizen security agencies held an act of loyalty to the acting president of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, as commander-in-chief. In the vicinity of the Bolivarian Military University of Venezuela, Vice President of Defense and Sovereignty Vladimir Padrino Lopez was in charge of rendering honors alongside military personnel. Likewise, the Minister of the Interior, Justice and Peace of Venezuela, Diosdado Cabello, ratified his loyalty to the national constitution to President Nicolás Maduro and acting President Delcy Rodriguez. For her part, Rodriguez reaffirmed her sorrow for the losses of January 3rd and reiterated that the people and government are united and demand the release of President Nicolás Maduro and First Lady and Deputy Cilia Flores. In this context, Venezuela's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, led the swearing-in of new officials who made a formal commitment to defend the country's constitution and laws.
Do you swear before God and the homeland and in the presence of the public powers and the Venezuelan people to honor the sacred oath
el sagrado juramento de defender la patria, su constitución,
of defending the homeland, its constitutions, its laws, and its institutions, even if it were necessary to lose your lives?
Por una patria grande, libre y soberana.
You swear it for a big homeland that is free and sovereign. You swear it for justice, for equality, and the common good. You swear it for solidarity and the national peace.
Por la solidaridad y la paz nacional. ¿Lo juran ustedes?
You swear it, and if you did so, may God and the homeland consecrate you.
Also, during the act, Rodriguez emphasized that the armed forces and citizen security agencies have been champions in dismantling extremism and fascism in Venezuela.
If our Bolivarian national forces have been anything, they have been real champions. Our citizen security agencies have been real champions in defeating the extremists and the fascists in Venezuela. In foiling coups, sabotage, and attempts to undermine the constitutional order, they had to seek the help of a nuclear power to try to subvert the sovereignty of the Venezuelan people. The extremists have not been able and will not be able to get away with it.
And in this scenario, Rodriguez also announced the creation of the National Office for Cyber Defense and Security in the country.
Y por eso he decidido crear una oficina nacional.
And that is why I have decided to create a national office for cyber defense and security in Venezuela, which will be attached to the Council of Vice Presidents. Heading this national office will be a scientist, Professor Gabriela Jimenez, Minister of Science and Technology, whom I asked to use her extensive skills. I asked the scientists and technology experts of Venezuela, together with the Military Scientific Council, to join forces in the field of defense, of science and technology to defend our cyberspace.
And Venezuelans continue taking to the streets across the nation to demand the release of constitutional President Nicolás Maduro and First Lady and Deputy Lady Cilia Flores, 25 days after their kidnapping by the U.S. military. Our correspondent Brian Mir brings us one of those examples.
In one of many protests which have been taking place across Venezuela, a crowd of people came out to the streets in Antimano Parish, a working-class neighborhood on the outskirts of Caracas, to demand the return of President Nicolás Maduro and First Lady and Congresswoman Cilia Flores, who were kidnapped by the United States government on January 3rd.
Since the empire burst into the dreams of the Venezuelan people on January 3rd, crossing our border and violating all international laws, we demand that the will of the people is honored. We demand the return of our First Lady and our President Nicolás Maduro, who was elected by the power of the people and the social movements. We pledge all our support to Comrade Delcy Rodriguez to bring back our president, Nicolás Maduro. Long live independence and our socialist homeland.
Independencia y patria socialista.
During the unprecedented act of imperialist violence against the oil-rich sovereign nation of Venezuela, the United States government killed an estimated 100 people, including civilians like 82-year-old grandmother Rosa Elena González de Yanez, who was crushed when the residential building she lived in the city of La Guaira was hit with a missile.
I went out to the street today because I miss my president. I want my president back. I want everything to go back to normal, to continue normally. And I want our country to come together so that everything can run smoothly and get better.
It's been 25 days since President Nicolás Maduro and First Lady and Congresswoman Celia Flores were kidnapped by the United States government. Brian Mir, teleSUR, Caracas.
And in Bolivia, diplomats and local authorities paid tribute to José Martí with a ceremony held in La Paz to commemorate the 173rd anniversary of the birth of the Cuban independence leader. The commemoration took place in José Martí Square in La Paz and was organized by the Cuban Embassy in Bolivia and the Movement of Solidarity with Cuba. On the stage, ambassadors from more than 10 countries and representatives of Bolivian institutions paid tribute to the Cuban apostle and recalled that Martí's ideas are a fundamental pillar for the building of a free, solidarity-based America. The main speech was given by Cuban ambassador to Bolivia, Elba Rosa Pérez, who paid special tribute to the 32 Cuban heroes that were murdered in defense of the Bolivarian Revolution following the U.S. imperialist invasion of January 3rd.
Martí no solo soñó con una Cuba libre.
Martí did not only dream of a free Cuba, he dreamed of a united, sovereign Latin America, free from external control. His anti-imperialist legacy, which still shines brightly today, calls us to defend our integrity, our rights, and our self-determination against any form of domination and aggression. We cannot fail to mention that 43 years ago, Bolivia and Cuba restored diplomatic relations based on mutual respect, solidarity, and brotherhood between their peoples. These relations have transcended formal agreements to become a living example of solidarity, especially in such sensitive areas as health, education, culture, and human development, always at the service of the most humble sectors of society.
On Wednesday, a small plane crashed in a rural area of Colombia's Norte de Santander province, killing all 15 people on board, including a congressman, according to authorities. Satena, the state-owned airline, said that local officials in Curacica notified authorities about the crash site and a rescue team was deployed. The Colombian Transportation Ministry later stated that authorities found no survivors after locating the aircraft. This aircraft took off from Cúcuta at 11:42 a.m. local time, bound for Ocaña, a 40-minute flight. According to a statement released by Satena, the aircraft's final contact with air traffic control came minutes after takeoff.
From the outset, we have deployed all the capabilities of the security forces, including aircraft and helicopters from the Air Force, to assist in the search, and at this time to assist the National Army with the capabilities required to recover the wreckage of the aircraft and the bodies of those who died.
We go now to the United States as the government is facing an imminent partial shutdown due to the lack of agreement between Democrats and Republicans to approve the budget package that would include funding for the Department of Homeland Security. In this scenario, the Democratic bench demands the removal of the budget chapter dedicated to immigration following the increase in tension surrounding the recent killings and arrests perpetrated by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. If no agreement is reached by midnight on January 30th, the partial shutdown will halt the operations of departments such as Defense, Health, Education, Transportation, Treasury and State, as well as other federal agencies. Let's recall that the last government shutdown in October of 2025 lasted 43 days and paralyzed the salaries of federal employees and many public services. Meanwhile, in the U.S., the workers from the city of Minneapolis launched a general strike in protest after recent killings by Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents. Thousands of protesters took to the streets to demand an end to the federal immigration deployment ordered by President Donald Trump's administration. During the day, dozens of businesses closed while workers joined the protest despite aggression from ICE agents. The protesters demanded an investigation into the murders of Renee Good and Alex Preti and punishment for the perpetrators as well. Meanwhile, dozens of people gathered for a vigil on Nicollet Avenue in the city of Minneapolis, where Alex Preti died at the hands of Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents. Attendees lit candles while rejecting anti-immigrant operations. The fatal shooting that killed Preti over the weekend has prompted calls for an independent and thorough investigation into the second death at the hands of federal immigration officers since the Trump administration began its large-scale operation in the city late last year.
Been kind of vacillating between feeling like kind of depressed and heartbroken and enraged, and this just felt like a good way to be together with my fellow medical professionals, and I feel like he's one of us. Like it was him, but it could have been any of us. I mean, he was trying to help someone, and that's kind of what we're all about, what we're always trying to do. And to see this amount of pain in our community, and feeling like we can't do much to address it, at least in this moment, we can be together, we can speak up, we can kind of feel the love and camaraderie that we have for each other.
In Venezuela, the Bolivarian National Armed Forces and the citizen security agencies held an act of loyalty to the acting president of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, teleSUR Rodriguez, as commander-in-chief in the vicinity of the Bolivarian Military University of